I'm just trying to decide if I'm comfortable even talking about that.
This one's wife. Those crazies on Reddit. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I think it would be fair to say that although Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are giving this one's wife a run for her money, that this one's wife probably still holds the crown as the world's most divisive individual. She has those that blindly support her, individuals who gain some kind of vicarious thrill because they look upon her and either think, hey, she came from a background as a person of colour and she married a prince. Maybe that could happen for me. Therefore, I think she's great. I think she's wonderful. And I think she's been really unfairly treated. Those horrible white colonialists are awful individuals, and I'm team this one's wife. Others have seen her as a useful vessel for their own agendas, that they've hijacked her victimhood and her playing of the race card to echo her complaints whilst pushing their own agendas and utilising her in that manner. We are aware, of course, of the behaviour of those individuals that make up the Sussex squad. Often bots, but there are real individuals behind that who engage in behaviours which are supportive of this one's wife, showing a slavish devotion to her, whilst denigrating members of the royal family, particularly Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. Those individuals fail to understand the evidence that's put in front of them. They basically have the mind virus of the collective of the Sussex squad, which is this one's wife good, all detractors are racists. Certain militant aspects of the Sussex squad go so far as to cause real-life problems for commentators that have spoken out about this one's wife, doxing individuals, making threats against them, threatening to expose them with regard to their identity and in the workplace, etc. On the other side, you have those that do not like this one's wife. There are those that find her a figure of fun and revel in the ridiculousness of her behaviours. There are others who really do not like the way that she has behaved and want to see her have her downfall. There are others who do appear to have developed an unhealthy focus on her, whereby the slightest piece of information about her is construed always against her, even though there is a more rational explanation behind it, that they engage in just gratuitous insult hurling towards her. And these are the individuals that invariably the Sussex squad will focus on as examples of the deranged haters that are anti this one's wife. It's fair to say that there are difficult individuals on both sides of the fence. What is clear is that the evidence does demonstrate that this one's wife is a narcissist. It is also clear that her behaviour is, supported by the evidence, problematic. To see that doesn't make you a hater. To see that doesn't make you a racist. To see that is commenting on the way that an individual behaves, and it isn't fabricating anything. Whilst there are those that do fabricate stories about her in order to promote gossip, to get clicks, to generate revenue, that you don't need to do that, because this one's wife as a narcissist and as a mid-range one is always going to generate plenty of material for individuals to scrutinise that shows that she's unpleasant, self-centred, self-absorbed, nasty, useless, and lacking emotional empathy. All you need to do is look back over the last few years in relation to what she's done, and you've got legion examples of that behaviour. This is something that naturally frustrates those who dislike her, that the other side can't seem to comprehend that she's a problem, that they can't seem to comprehend that she's a difficult individual, that they ignore the evidence, that they ignore what is there in plain sight. How can you not understand that she's a narcissist? How can you not understand that she's difficult? Those individuals simply reject it. And for example, they label those that detract this one's wife as haters, as racists. And as you will hear, make reference to certain individuals that post on a well-known subreddit, those crazies on Reddit, which is clearly directed at the subreddit, say, this one's wife. They use her full name, as you know. I do not. And that shows a particular mindset, that they regard the commentary that is there as being representative of crazies. What's interesting in the video that I'm about to show you is that, as I've made it clear so many times, all you need do with your lesser and mid-range narcissists is give them time, give them enough rope, keep back from them, implement your no-contact regime. But if you're wanting them to fuck up, they will. If you're needing them to create evidence which you might use, for instance, in a divorce or a child custody dispute, then it'll come. You just need to bide your time. I always explain to my clients who come to me for help in understanding how to deal with narcissists, you go to the evidence and you give the narcissist enough rope, because the way that the narcissist functions, they will create that evidence that you will be able to use. What you're going to see is that principle in action. The fact that this one's wife behavior creates evidence which people can see. And here we have an individual who is clearly a supporter of this one's wife, clearly someone who doesn't like those that detract from her, hence her reference to those crazies on Reddit, but also somebody who looks to be waking up to what this one's wife is. Why is she waking up? Is she waking up as a consequence of being told by those crazies on Reddit that this one's wife is a narcissist and a manipulator and a horrible person? No. Is she waking up because other commentators are repeatedly arguing with her across social media, telling her, you're dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with a horrible woman, she's awful? No. She's waking up because she's seeing the very evidence that this one's wife is creating. Now, I don't know who this lady is, and I must provide credit to Nancy Sidley, who had highlighted this video on X, where I saw it and thought it would be a useful example to show how the mindset can be altered by the way that the narcissist creates evidence. Not everybody is going to accept it, because there will always be those individuals who are still up a tree fighting the war in 1965 because they are completely brainwashed supporters. Nevertheless, the evidence builds, and that means that there are those that will start to see it, that they'll start to go, hang on a second, this isn't stacking up, is it? I think I was wrong. That trying to tell somebody that they are wrong invariably won't work, because all they hear is, I'm being told I'm wrong, I don't like that. Leaving aside whether they're a narcissist or not, let's just park that for the moment. Most people don't like to be told that they are wrong. And what happens is when you do that, they focus on being told that they're wrong rather than the actual evidence that you're providing. It's far better to suggest, well, you might want to think about this, and then present the evidence and allow them to make their own mind up. People don't like to be told how to think. People don't like to be told what the outcome should be. Instead, it's better to provide the evidence and interpretation and allow people to make their own mind up. And this is what we see in relation to this lady and the realization that things aren't stacking up. And this realization comes from this one's wife engaging in her narcissistic behavior, which creates the collateral consequences which we all talk about. And lo and behold, here we have an instance of an individual waking up to the evidence created by this one's wife, which is created by her narcissism. Have a watch of this.
I'm going to ruffle a few feathers with this one, I know, but sometimes the criticism that Meghan Markle gets is valid and it's not racist nor misogynistic. I've recorded this video a few times now. It's going to be about 3 minutes, so hear me out. Here's my most recent criticism of Meghan Markle, and it has to do with the rebrand of her brand. So she announced ARO, American Riviera Orchard, that's what we're going to call it from now on because it really is a mouthful, last year. And my theory, the reason why she announced it prematurely is because like some crazies on that Reddit thread found the trademark and she just wanted to be the first to announce it. And like, I get it, but also like you have nothing. You don't even have a trademark secured. You could have kept it cute and said like, you know, like wait and see, tee-hee, or just, you know, nothing at all. But now you've opened yourself up for people to like poke fun because yet again, we've got a sloppy launch from you and your team. Anyway, I did sign up because I loved the TIG back in the day and I was like, I'm here for it. But now we have this new thing going on as ever a year later because as we know, she could not secure the trademark for American Riviera Orchard. But I already gave her my information and data for ARO. I no longer want this defunct brand to have my information and you to like use my data for whatever purposes. Like, I'm not cool with that. Go to ARO's website, and I go to the privacy notice to opt out of the Google Analytics. And of course, since they rushed to throw up that website, the Google Analytics was not properly set up. So when I clicked the opt out on ARO's website for the Google Analytics, this is literally what it takes me to. Ridiculous. So then I go to her new website as ever, and I'm debating about whether or not I want to sign up because once again, she is just rushing to launch something. It's not ready, and I'm again assuming it's because the crazies on that Reddit thread found the trademark for it and she just wanted again to be the first to announce it. At least she has her trademark secured this time. But you never know with their launches and like their productivity. So I'm like, okay, let me check the privacy notice just in case. Nothing set up on their privacy notice. Today though, when you look, it's now set up. Here, I already opted and now the privacy notice is here. So now I will sign up for it now that I know that I can like snatch back my data if need be. But this is the whole point. Like, this is my criticism. Like, why are you rushing to like announce and launch something when like the website wasn't even properly set up yet?
Okay, so this individual evidently is a supporter of this one's wife. She admits as such. And what's interesting is that she quite reasonably states that not every criticism of this one's wife is racist or misogynistic, demonstrating a more balanced approach to things. She explains that this one's wife announced the new venture because some crazies on Reddit, as she calls them, found it. But she says you, to this one's wife, didn't have a trademark. You could have waited. And then people can now poke fun at you because of this sloppy launch. So this individual can see that the launch was sloppy, and she decides, because she's a supporter of this one's wife, she'd signed up on ARO and she now wants her data back. And she didn't want them keeping it, but she explains that there were problems regarding Google Analytics. So again, this individual can look at it in a balanced way to think, this is what you did with ARO was rushed, it was sloppy, and now I can't get my data back. Then she talks about the new website, as ever, and again highlights that there's been a rush to launch this. And she decides that she's going to check the privacy notice. And at first there was nothing set up, and then it is set up. And then she states, look, my criticism about all of this is, why are you rushing with the creation of all of this? Essentially, it makes you look stupid. This is a supporter of this one's wife. We know that because she talks about wanting to sign up to the websites, and also she references the commenters on the Reddit site as crazies. So it's clear who she backs in all of this. But it's evident also that she's starting to realise that this one's wife is a bit useless, and that to criticise her isn't racist or misogynistic. It's a criticism because she's sloppy and rushed, and she sees this. And so she's querying, why is it that you're rushing things? Why are you making a mess of things? This is an individual that has woken up to the behaviours of this one's wife, at least to an extent, because she is able to look at it in a balanced way. And why is she able to do this? Because she has seen ARO being rushed, and now she sees as ever being rushed. And therefore she looks at it and thinks, hang on a second, there's a pattern here, isn't there? You keep rushing your websites out. They're underprepared. I don't want you using my data. I can't get it back because the Google Analytics are messed up. Your privacy notice wasn't there. Then it is there. This is all really sloppy. This lady isn't saying, oh, well, I've been watching HG Tudor videos and he says this, or I've been watching videos from this YouTube commentator and they say this about this one's wife and I've finally woken up to it. No. She's woken up to it because of her own experience. And that is so true when it comes to the narcissist, that rather than you go around spending your time shouting to people, this person's a narcissist, this person's a narcissist, you've got to let them make their own minds up. And invariably the narcissist will show their behaviours at some point. The more that you shout about it, the less likely people are to take notice of it. But if you allow that narcissist to hang themselves, and they will, people will see it. And just like this lady, she's seen the sloppiness and the rushed nature of this one's wife's behaviour, and it's caused her to call her conduct into question. Which means if she's doing it, so are other people. And that here, a clear supporter of this one's wife is questioning the behaviour of this one's wife, demonstrating that people are starting to wake up to the narcissist's behaviour. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.